Hare Krishna, Ruchi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
How are you, Ruchi Mataji?
Yeah, I don't keep well. Sometimes it gets really bad, and then sometimes I just trying to. Sometimes I just try to not let it affect me. But yeah, I have a big lump in my breast. It hurts, and
Mm.
who knows what is going on.
Mm. Mm.
Hello.
Yes, Mataji, I can hear you.
How about you? You said you were not doing well.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah,
What happened?
I had a headache and like also like um my menstrual cycle was off and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but today I have a little bit of pain in my neck, but otherwise I'm fine.
Hmm.
Did you get Alex's phone number?
Is that your number?
I sent you Alex's number.
Is that the famous thing with Alex?
What did you say?
Famous thing with Alex?
Your voice is breaking so much I cannot make.
I said, is Tom staying with Alex?
Oh, sorry, Kam's number. Yeah. Hmm.
They said they're staying together.
Ruchi Mataji, again, your voice is like so muffled. It's hard to understand. Send me a chat.
I said, this is staying with Alex.
That number I sent is Kam's number.
So, okay. You keep talking to her.
Mataji, can you send me a chat because I cannot understand. It's so muffled. No, no, no. No, actually, this Alex is a devotee who used to live in the temple. And Kham and she were friends. So I had stored her number like that. Okay, should we start reading now? Because it's 5:03. So maybe we can start with the prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So, today we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 8, Dhruv Maharaj leaves home for the forest. And we are reading from text 25 through 28. Ruchi Mataji, would you like to read?
Yeah, I can read today.
Okay,
There
your
is a
voice
lot
is
of
still muffled, but I'll be able to move the screen and I will also be able to read along. So you can read.
okay. Rather to be not only
Hare Krishna, this is Govardhan Leela. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Govardhan Leela Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. How are
yes,
you, Mataji? So we just started reading. Um, Ruchi Mataji is also on the call.
Oh, very nice.
Mhm. Her voice is very muffled, but she can read the first text because we all have the books, so we can follow along.
Okay, that's great.
I explain can you scroll up for the translation? There is a lot of background noise. Or maybe Govardhan Leela Mataji and Leela Manjari, can you both mute your phone mics, so then there will be no noise.
I'll mute.
Yeah, I have
Okay,
also muted. Okay, Mataji, I'm muting now.
okay, now it's better. Translation. The great sage Narad overheard this news, and understanding all the activities of Dhruv Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruv, and touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows, purport. When Dhruva Maharaj was talking with his mother Suniti of all the incidents that had taken place in the palace, Narad was not present. Thus the question may be raised how Narad overheard all these topics. The answer is that Narad is Trikal Gyani. He is so powerful that he can understand the past, present, future, and present of everyone's heart, just like the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, after understanding the strong determination of Dhruv Maharaj, Narad came to help him. It may be explained in this way. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart. And as soon as he understands that a living entity lost it. Um, living entity is serious about entering devotional service, he sends his representatives. In this way, Narad was sent to Dhruv Maharaj. This is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. By the grace of the spiritual master and Krishna, one can enter into devotional service. Because of Dhruv Maharaj's determination, Krishna, the super soul, immediately sent his representative Narad to initiate him.
Thank you, Ruchi Mataji. Would Govardhan Leela Mataji or Manasi Ganga Mataji, would any of you like to read?
I can read. Let's see, text
Text
26.
26. Yes.
What are we reading up until? I forgot.
28.
Okay. Aho Teja Kshatriyanam Manabangam Amrishyatam Balo Apiyayam Vidate Yatsamatur Asadvachaha. How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas! They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine. This boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. Purport. The qualifications of the Kshatriyas are described in the Bhagavad Gita. Two important qualifications are to have a sense of prestige and not to flee from battle. It appears that the Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva Maharaj was naturally very active. If the Brahminical Kshatriya or Vaishya culture is maintained in a family, naturally the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, the samskara or the reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. If one fails to observe the reformatory measures current in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standard of life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Manasiganga Mataji, would you like to read? Text 27.
Okay. Narda uvacha narhunapi avam manante sammanam vapi putraka lakshayama kumasrasya saktaskritam adisu. Translation. The great sage Narada told Dhruva, "My dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor?" Purport. Ordinarily, if a child is rebuked as a rascal or fool, he smiles and does not take such insulting words very seriously. Similarly, if words of honor are offered, he does not appreciate them. But in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, the Kshatriya spirit was so strong that he could not tolerate a slight insult from his stepmother, which injured his Kshatriya prestige.
Thank you, Mataji. So, text 28, and this is the last verse for today. Vikalpa vidyamana api nahi asantosha hetava pamso pums pumso moham rite bhinna ya loka nijakarma bhi. Translation, my dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy. Every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore, there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. Purport. In the Vedas, it is said that the living entity is always uncontaminated and unaffected by material association. The living entity gets different types of material bodies because of his previous fruitive actions. If, however, one understands the philosophy that as a living spirit soul, he has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then he is considered to be a liberated person. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When one is actually situated on the transcendental platform, he has nothing for which to lament and nothing for which to hanker. Narada Rishi, first of all, wanted to impress upon Dhruv Maharaj that he was only a child. He should not have been affected by words of insult or honor. And if he were so developed as to understand honor and insult, then this understanding should have been applied in his own life. He should have known that honor and dishonor are both destined only by one's previous actions. Therefore, one should not be so sorry or happy under any circumstances. So, Ruchi Mataji, since you read the first purport, would you like to share? Text 25. Are you still there, Ruchi Mataji? Ruchi Mataji?
So I was on mute and I was speaking continuously.
Okay, now you can
Okay, so
share.
okay, yeah. So the great sage mother overheard. So now, by providence, um, Narad Muni is sent to Dhruv Maharaj, and um, like it is written that he was not present when this was taking place, but how could he hear? Because whenever a person is very advanced spiritually, what happens is he is part of the important works of the Supreme Lord. And so whenever he is needed, Narad Muni used to always appear whenever there is some dichotomy or some big decision is being taken, or some devotee is in distress, then Narad Muni always appears there. And since he is Trikal Darshi, which means Trikal Gyani, which means he can know the um, um, intentions of the past, future, and present of everyone's thoughts in the heart. Um, he tried to help him because he knew that he was destined to pursue the tapasya of approaching the supreme personality of Godhead or Krishna with great fervor at a very young age, so he could become a perfect devotee and he could become an epitome of um, how one can become steady in his devotion. That is what the Dhruv star, which has been given the in the constellation Dhruv star has been given its place, which denotes a particular direction. And before there is any star in the sky, you can see the Dhruv star, and it's always its location is fixed because at such a young age, he when children have many thoughts of multifarious thoughts, it is very difficult for children to control their thoughts and put it into a very mundane topic like pursuing samadhi or meditation on the Supreme Lord, whom he hasn't seen, without even the instruction of any spiritual master. He just decided to do it by his own meditation and efforts. So that is why he was given the star of steadfastness and fixity of purpose, that at such a young age he was able to attain that state which people attain after, yogis attain after they advance very spiritually in old age after many years of practice. So he already knew that he was destined for this. And so because of Dhruv Maharaj's determination, his determination was so strong even at this young age, that I am not going to be affected by any other by all these austerities that are happening, or if I can handle them or not, or the pleasures or what people will say or what is going to happen. But he was so determined that I am going to find out the supreme God within my heart, that he or I'm going to see him. And so the super Krishna, the super soul, he sent his representative Narad to initiate him. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ruchi Mataji, for the beautiful explanation of this verse. And welcome, Antaranga Seva Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we are in Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 25. Ruchi Mataji just discussed. So text 26, Govardhan Lila Mataji.
Yes, I'm learning this brand new. Not about the fact that the Kshatriyas are powerful, because we know this, but I didn't know that they can't tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. So here we have Dhruva Maharaj, and he becomes, the harsh words from his stepmother were unbearable to him. He couldn't handle that. So there are supposedly, I'm learning, there are two types of qualifications for a Kshatriya, and they're described in the Bhagavad Gita: to have a sense of prestige and not flee from battle. And our Guru Maharaj was saying that this morning. If one is a Kshatriya, they would rather die than walk away from battle or from a fight or whatever. So that is their vow, and it's like their honor. Now, we're talking about Kshatriya blood here, and Prabhupada is saying whether it be Brahminical, Kshatriya, or Vaishya culture maintained in a family, the sons and the grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Yeah, it is taught to them, but we have to be careful, because we were just reading this in Chaitanya Charitamrita this afternoon, that just because one is, we know with Brahmins too, if it is not done by heredity, the Shastras actually say that if one is a Brahmin, one must act like a Brahmin. You must have the qualifications of a Brahmin. Likewise with Kshatriya or Vaishya. They're probably, my understanding here is that they're given this culture through the family over generations. However, if, like, let's say the sons don't adhere to the practices, that were given in the family, or that have been done in the family for generations, this will degrade that particular individual to a lower standard of life. And so it doesn't really matter. I mean, Prabhupada is basically saying that, you could be born as a Kshatriya by heredity, but one must show the qualifications of this particular ashram in order to be considered a Kshatriya. You must show the qualifications, even if it's been in your family for generations. And that's why today, we're seeing this in, if this were to be the case for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, etc., Shudras, Americans would never have become Krishna conscious, because this would have all been done through birth. Okay, and so I don't have any of these people in my family who taught me any of this. So one must learn through other devotees, through the spiritual master, through the previous acharyas, how to behave in the proper way, according to Varna and Ashram. And then one can qualify to be in one of these situations. But it's not. Prabhupada has pointed out that it's not through heredity anymore, or at least it isn't now. That's my understanding. So that's kind of what's being talked about here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
In 27, Narada is talking to Dhruva and he's asking him a question. He says, my dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor? So typically, children of 5 are involved in sports and have, their mind attached to frivolous things. But Dhruva Maharaj was not a typical boy, and he was one who had this strong Kshatriya spirit, and being what Govindan Leela said, one of the 2 qualifications is having a sense of prestige and the other one, not to flee from battle. So it was challenging to him, being a Kshatriya, to hear from his second mother that, that he could not sit on his father's lap, which he felt was something that he should be able to do. And this this sense of prestige too, like he felt that this was due him, and it was intolerable that that he was told that he couldn't. So that's very small purport. That's what was said. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Manasi Ganga Mataji. Yeah, these purports are small. Text 28. So this is again continuation of Narada speaking to Dhruva Maharaj. And as Ruchi Mataji very nicely explained, that when one has even a slightest desire to connect with the Supreme Lord, then Krishna immediately recognizes that, and he sends his representatives to help such a devotee. And Dhruva Maharaj was like that. And Narada was glorifying Dhruva Maharaj by saying, oh, you are a powerful Kshatriya. You're born into a powerful Kshatriya family and you're exhibiting the qualities of a Kshatriya, that they cannot tolerate any amount of insult, anything that affects their prestige. And then he's also pointing out, as Manasi Ganga Mataji explained, usually children of that age are only attached to sports and other small frivolities. But how is it that you're so affected by the words insulting your honor? So Dhruv Maharaj was only 5 years old, and he understood that he was insulted by his stepmother, and he wanted to show them that he was not any less. Therefore, he wanted a big kingdom, bigger than his father's kingdom, bigger than his father's kingdom. He was actually desiring a kingdom which is bigger than Lord Brahma's kingdom, just to show that he was not less than them. And that was his reaction to the insult. He wanted to show them. But along the way, he received some very good instruction from his mother and also his stepmother, although she said it in an insulting manner, but her words were true, that he should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is an instruction which everyone, can take uh, as an instruction for themselves. So in any situation of life, actually, if one can take a shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that becomes the shelter um, uh, for them, and it is their shield against the attacks of material energy. So, under the illusory feature of the Lord, one thinks that one is his body, and one identifies with the body so much, and anything that comes with the body becomes very important. So one thinks of himself, and he thinks of his father and mother and his family and his later on his wife and later on his children, his home, everything becomes very important. And if anybody speaks anything which is disrespectful to what he considers that to be important to him, or what he considers to be his own, and if somebody says something that, that oh, like this is less than what he wanted to hear, then it becomes an insult. So it, so in that way, like everything, honor and dishonor are actually based on illusion, because the soul has no attributes. The soul is not black or white. The soul is not I mean to say that soul has attributes, but it does not have material attributes which we can recognize or see. um, so yeah, a soul is not any of these identifications which people in this world take so seriously. It's not black, it's not white, it's not a king, it's not a pauper, it's not a man, it's not a woman. um, so it's not any of these external identifications which are very important for someone who is living within this world, and they make a big deal out of it, by saying, oh, like you are like this because you're a woman, you are like this because you're a man, you're like this because you're American, you're like this because you're fat, you're like this because you're too skinny, you're like this because you're too tall. Whatever are these designations, they're all born out of the bodily conception of life, by identifying and looking at their body. That those none of these are attributes of a soul. And but this is the power of the illusory energy. It makes us believe that we are one of these things. And because of those things, like when somebody defies whatever we feel is that false identity, then we immediately react to it by saying, no, 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 it's not like that. If somebody calls us, oh, you're so ugly, we immediately take it to heart. We immediately feel like, oh, why did that person speak to me like this? uh, but actually it's a feature of the body, it's not a feature of the soul. But we identify so strongly with this body, and react to everything that comes along, that the whole consciousness becomes a part of it. It revolves around that material consciousness. And because of that, like, this it comes across as if the living entity is either enjoying or suffering, because of those identifications with the body. So the entire purpose of the Vedas is actually to help a living entity realize that he's not He's uncontaminated and unaffected by these material association. He's actually a pure soul who is part and parcel of Krishna. That's the entire purpose of the Vedas, to bring us to our real identity as a spirit soul. And how does one come out of that illusion? Because this identification is so strong that uh, oh, it actually, these desires, these affinities, these hates and dislikes, and likes and affection, these are actually desires which are taking the soul from one body to the next. And because of the karma in one body to the next, and because of the desires, he is either suffering or he is experiencing happiness. But again, all this suffering and happiness have nothing to do with the soul. The soul is independent of all of these things. And when a person actually begins to understand, then he's called as Brahma Bhuta. That means he has come to understand that these sufferings and happiness are identifications with the body. They're not his true identity. So, what happens to such a person? How does one come to such a stage where one can look beyond the um, attributes of the body? So, that actually requires deep spiritual understanding. And that deep spiritual understanding comes from service to the Supreme Lord. When one comes in contact with the Supreme Lord and he experiences the joy of serving the Supreme Lord, slowly but surely, he will begin to experience detachment from this material world. In fact, many of his material needs will begin to diminish. Prabhupada used to say that as one advances in spiritual life, eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, all of them will diminish to significantly small portions, to the extent that one is actually very advanced in spiritual life. So, so the external bodily needs become diminished, and even that feeling of honor and dishonor, which is very very dear to a materialistic person, does not touch the devotee. That's a great relief for the mind, because one, as long as one is seeking honor and one is feeling insulted in dishonor, actually that's a great burden that one carries on his heart. And that burden can be relieved um, by the process of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. It is possible, one can experience it. The more one becomes situated as a servant of Krishna, the more he finds happiness in devotional service. He does not feel attracted to these external need for honor. He doesn't look for it anymore because his soul has found satisfaction in service to the Supreme Lord. And um, Narad Muni wants to take Dhruv Maharaj to that level where he understands that he is not this body, just by speaking transcendental knowledge to him. But Dhruv Maharaj, he's a young boy, and he very soon will come to hear that he directly tells Narad Muni, Narad Muni, you are giving me very good instruction, but I cannot follow it. So, and then, like, this is also another great qualification. of a person, if he can be very honest with his spiritual master about what his struggles are, what is he able to follow within the instructions that are given to him, and what is he unable to follow. And such honesty in spiritual life will really help somebody make a lot of spiritual progress, and following the instructions of the spiritual master. That's another key factor. When one follows the instruction of the spiritual master, he very quickly makes advancement, and we'll see that in the life of Dhruva Maharaj. He took the messages of Narada so much into his heart. Within a span of 6 months, he completely becomes free from all material contamination. So, this is the power of the instructions of the spiritual masters. We can read all the Vedas, we can study all the Shastras, but if one does not accept the instruction of the spiritual masters, he will not be able to gain the favor of the Lord, please the Lord, because the spiritual master really knows what can really help the disciple, and he's always guiding the disciple along the path. But at the same time, if some instruction is very difficult for a disciple to follow, the disciple can share his struggle with the spiritual master and seek his guidance how to go about it. So in this case, Dhruv Maharaj had a very strong Kshatriya spirit. He was born into a Kshatriya family, and his because of all the reformatory processes that he underwent, he had that spirit in him. So for him to give up this spirit of honor and dishonor was very difficult. So, but he undertook the process of bhakti so nicely that very soon he became completely detached from the contamination that was in his heart. So this actually is very inspiring for me, because this faith in the guidance of the spiritual master and following the instructions with determination, these are key for one's spiritual growth. And this is something which will keep reoccurring again and again as a theme throughout this chapter, and it will come out more and more as we study this chapter. So I'll pause here, and today is Friday, so we'll be ending our class by 5:55 or 6 o'clock. But we can have some discussion between now and then.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for that beautiful elaboration and putting everything in perspective. I very much appreciate what you had said. And so I'm thinking about detachment and detachment to family. And as one makes advancement, one changes. And those who are around us, family, etc., as they're watching their devotee family member, the non-devotees, as they're watching the devotee family member make changes, it has to be done in a way that that those who are not familiar with the process can understand. And I just was wondering if you can talk at all to that point. As a devotee, as we make changes or make decisions, those around us who are very, fixed in the bodily platform, they're being affected by us, all of us who are making changes. And some of us are in families where they're devotees, so they're understanding the changes. But when you're living in a mixed family, it takes a lot of, I don't know, I guess communication. Anyway, so I was wondering if you can talk to that at all.
Yeah, you're right, Mataji. Like when we make changes in our life, we should be sensitive to how others around us perceive it and how others around us like take it. And in my own life, like unfortunately, like when I came to Krishna consciousness, there were many things that happened which actually, many things could have gone wrong, but by the mercy of my spiritual master and also by the mercy and blessings of saintly persons, somehow that like things did not fall apart so badly. um you know so but there are other devotees like who are very careful. They're very emotionally mature to not make drastic changes in their lifestyle so that like it does not impact their family members. But even when we make drastic changes, if it is done in consultation with other devotees in a very mature fashion, even though we may not be mature, we can get mature guidance from other devotees, and they can help us along, because sometimes we may have some blind spots, but they can help us along in tracing those blind spots and where we can show affection to our family members in such a way that they don't feel so threatened, that they would lose us or they would never see us again. Like if all those doubts that are arising in their hearts can be addressed in a nice way. Anybody else would like to add to Manasi Ganga Mataji's question? I think it's a very valid question which comes up in all of our lives.
I can just say, because I am the only one who has become a devotee in my family, and I just have my husband here, and I really do not. I make a concerted effort not to rattle his cage. Okay, I really try. I really love him, so therefore I want to please him. So I don't always just. I mean, there are some devotees, they'll say, well, this is what I'm going to do, and if you don't like it, too bad. This is not the way to handle people, and especially people that you've been around all your life. I feel that there's a lot of compromising that has to happen. Even if it were children, it wouldn't matter. I mean, I talk to my cousins, and if I mention Krishna consciousness, I do it very gently in a way that they can understand it through my Christian background. And let them see the attraction I have, and that it's not a scary thing. Some people get scared, they don't understand. And my cousin was terrified to go to the temple because her mother kept saying, "Oh, well, you're not going to any temple," and because I had invited her to the temple. And so I showed her um, one of our Sunday feast things on YouTube, and she said, "That's it." She said, "That it's like that." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, it's so different from what I had imagined in my head. Who knows what people were saying, But I just said to her, I said, "You don't have to put on a sari." I mean, I had people telling her, "You have to put sari on. You have to." No, I said, "Come, just be dressed decently, of course, but of course you come as you are and join if you will." And so I guess I'm just trying to say that I don't have that approach. I know devotees that have this approach. They just I don't know what the word how to say it. They just run over you like a truck. And I've seen this happen, and I've had to tell these devotees, you might do that in your home, but you can't do that with me. That these people are coming from a totally different tradition. They don't understand it. And you have to do it gently, and don't push or proselytize to them. Let it happen naturally. And I can say my husband, he has become so much more favorable. I'm in shock. And it's taken a long time, but I think he was afraid of it before, and now he realizes it's my spiritual practice, and I'm not leaving, and it's not going to. I'm not going to leave him forever and walk away from him, because that's a big fear. That is a big fear with karmis. Okay, that you're going to walk away. You're going to walk away into some kind of a religious group and never to be seen again. And this is not what we're about. And we have to make people see that, not through just what we say, but rather how we act and through our actions, I think. So that's my little piece of, this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Would anybody else like to add? We have only a few more minutes, but if somebody wants to share more.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah, I would like to share my experience. When I first joined Krishna consciousness in India, and I liked it so much that the mistakes I did, that I want to share. My son agreed. He was in school, so what difference did it make? That okay, no onion, garlic, and everything. But I did not realize that my husband is going to have a big problem with no onion, garlic. And so then there were like arguments and this and that. So what I should have done is, though I like this Krishna consciousness so much, I took it for granted because he also comes from the same background. He has heard about Krishna. It's not something new. I thought what's it won't be difficult for him. But no, it was very difficult. What I should have done is I should have cooked my food separately. If I like this Krishna consciousness so much, I should have practiced it silently without disturbing his life, and cooked for him with onion and garlic so that he is not disturbed. And then slowly, when after chanting for a few years, when he sees that, oh, she has actually become better than what she was, then he would have become more favorable. But because I hurried, and like I stopped cooking with onion and garlic, and so I started going every Sunday. He would not like it. So the changes we make have, yes, whatever you're sharing, we have to be very sensitive, and we should not disturb their lives as far as possible. But also the other thing is that we should also understand that we have got this opportunity after many, many lifetimes. So we should also not leave it. What then happened was that because there were so many arguments, I just stopped. I I started cooking with onion garlic again, and then with annas shuddhi, sattva shuddhi, that happens. So if your food is not clean, if it is in the mode of passion and ignorance, then there will not be any spiritual progress. And then that happened. So what I should have done is that, okay, if he wants meat, he can eat, but then he cannot force that on me. That I should have understood. That husband and wife, they cannot force each other. If he wants to eat, that is his independent choice. I will cook for him. But then the same thing I should have told him that, see, you cannot force this on me also. I don't want to eat this. I want to do spiritual progress, and I will not go away anywhere, or nothing will happen to our married life or anything. I should have explained, but that maturity was not there in me too. And in India, it is, please forgive me for saying this, but it is, they are very fanatical. They don't even understand that families can have such problems. They think that, oh, you are a Hindu, you know Krishna, you know that onion garlic is not good, so what's the problem? And then if we just go and say, like, for the first time when I went for Sunday feast, I went a little early, and I was cut. They asked me, do you want to cut vegetables? And I said, yes, I will cut vegetables. And I was cutting vegetables, and then one of the Matajis asked me, what is your name, etc. And then she said, do you drink tea and coffee? And I did not even know. I said, yes. And then she was like, oh my God, you drink tea and coffee? How can you even do that? And this and that. And I felt so inferior that I also got scared of ISKCON. And many people are scared. That's the thing. So we should not do that. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. That's very, very helpful to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It seems that all of us who have these mixed families have to go through a lot, and it would be nice if if there would be some kind of I don't know, some guidance a little bit more at the beginning. I mean, I have this understanding already. I just am going to make a big move in my life, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it all correctly when I go to Mayapur. Make sure that I don't leave strings hanging. And so I was just hoping that that maybe I could get some insight from everybody here. But yeah, like at the beginning, the when we begin our practice, there's such enthusiasm, I think, and no understanding of how to integrate Krishna consciousness in a mixed family. And because Krishna is so sweet, and kirtan is so sweet, and all these things, the devotees are so sweet, you just want to come up to the standard, and it's just a juggling act. I think at the very beginning, of course, and even Govardhan Leela and myself have been chanting for over 10 years, and we're still family is still being affected. Although, like my daughter, she became 4 years ago, she became vegetarian, and she's making her husband a vegetarian. I mean, so I'm seeing lots of progress, but it is, I just want to make sure that I do this correctly. Going to Mayapur in September, and that I do it in a compassionate way, because that's what it is. It's because we want to give our family members the opportunity to to slowly walk into or fast, whatever their pace is, towards Krishna. And so it's so important that as we begin to realize, that we act very responsibly and compassionately. So thank you very much for all your insights and sharing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Linda Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining today.
Yes, thank you. It's a very interesting class tonight. Yes, their children really in these days need us